Welcome back. You're watching Live from Paris on France 24. I'm joined now in the studio by James Creedon. Good evening to you, James.
Good evening,
Time
Laura.
for Media Watch. We're going to have a look. And you've done a bit of a study for us on the media and how it interacts with governments, not just here in France, but elsewhere. Let's start with the BBC presenter, Jeremy Paxman. Now, he's known for this, isn't he? Really ripping politicians to pieces.
Gosh.
And the latest one has caused something of a stir.
That's right. Lots of talk today online about Chloe Smith, who appeared on Newsnight yesterday. Now, she was defending a government U-turn on a rise in fuel taxes. I won't get into the technicalities. What's important to retain from
Two words, Jerry can.
This is it. What's important to retain is Jeremy Paxman and his interviewing style. Quite aggressive. Yeah. Let's take a look at this. It's been all over the web in the last 24 hours.
Smith, the Treasury Minister, is here with us. When were you told of this change of plan? So when were you told? And you can't even tell me when you were told what the change of policy was. Do you ever wake up in the morning and think, my God, what am I going to be told today? You ever think you're incompetent?
I think it's valuable to help real people in this way, and I do think that is valued by people who drive.
OK, Chloe Smith, thank you.
So, I mean, her responses were pretty feeble, but what I wanted to focus on there was his persistent questioning style. When were you told? When did George Osborne tell you? Because it seems that she was left out in the dark in the actual decision on this tax U-turn. But in any case, at the end,
it's usually a problem for the Deputy Prime Minister, Nick Clegg. But
this is it. And now, for once, he wasn't left out in the cold. It seems she was. And at the end, as you heard there, he said, "Do you ever feel incompetent?"
Oh dear, that's not very nice,
quite
is it?
the killer question. And I think from a French perspective as well, France isn't used to that sort of aggressive...
Well, that crosses the line into rude. I think it becomes personal,
Absolutely.
doesn't it? But it reminds me of when he interrogated Michael Howard, who Michael Howard was a bit more used to it. Do you remember?
Was this the 14 times?
It was a while ago.
I heard about
it kept going, answer the question. And it became it became a farce because he just kept asking the question, I think 14, 15 times.
Well, the thing is, she didn't manage this well. And online, if we take a look on Twitter, a lot of people were sort of shocked by that question, do you think she's incompetent? Do you ever think that you're incompetent? But also you have, on The Guardian, people saying, look, this is how you need to play Jeremy Paxman. In other words, you have to turn the questions back on him. And Jonathan Friedland of The Guardian said you have to use Alistair Campbell's technique of blame the media strategy, which declares the question itself at fault. So you sort of turn it back.
We see this a lot, don't we? Oh, I think it's irresponsible to
That's right. You can't ask me that question. That's not right at all.
Personality, yeah, absolutely.
Another way of doing it is to basically catch out the interviewer on perhaps a lack of preparation. Let's take a look at when that did happen, just once, to Jeremy Paxman. This is with a Welsh economist for the separatist party, Plaid Cymru. Let's take a look at this. This was in 2010.
You want this? This is the one. Yeah, I'll give you that. Sure.
115% of the UK average.
No, it isn't. Well,
115%.
There are thousands of statistics here. But
well, do your homework.
We're looking at 7. I have done my homework. Right, I will go.
Well, you're picking me up on numbers, so I'm telling you it's 115% of the UK average in London, 112% in Wales.
Well, I don't have that chart in front of me.
Well, you ought to have it in front of you if you've done your homework.
Oh, it's every
Do your homework. He told him twice to do his homework, that he hadn't done his homework. He didn't know his statistics.
Every newsreader's worst nightmare.
Well, this is
Makes me cringe.
I shouldn't be so... This is kind of putting Laura, getting all meta, I suppose.
I always do.
There you go. That's for Britain in any case.
OK, now, here in France, this has spurred something of a campaign to really get because like you say, the politicians, they're not used to it here at all. Or even when you watch press conferences, they're very polite and very
there was an infamous incident with, he's known as PPDA, he was a TF1 newsreader, and some suspect that he might have lost his job over an overly aggressive interview
Sarkozy
of
had
Nicolas
him removed,
Sarkozy.
didn't it? Yeah.
That's right. But in any case, today, it's interesting that this was big news in Britain, because today, one of the stories online was about the techniques used by government spokespeople to sort of get around the issues. If there's a bad news day, how they manage things. So the new government spokesman is this very attractive lady, Najat, what's her, if I could pronounce her name correctly, Najat Vallaud-Belkacem.
Oh, very good, well done.
This is it. And basically what they're doing now, or what the magazine Inrecuptible is doing, is they've interviewed past government spokespeople to find out their tricks. And one trick used by Valérie Pécresse, this rather, I suppose, attractive-looking politician, she always wore, or she tried to wear as often as she could, red. That was her technique. She said if you wear red, you look very well, and it's a way of sort of, I suppose, style over substance in some senses. You sort of, if you look well, the message is passed along.
But again, I'm reminded of
the
debate between François Hollande and Nicolas Sarkozy when the two journalists sat there like good little school children. Do you remember?
This is it. And
they don't get
regardless of what you're wearing, that's not
Except
really going to make you
Cats.
better at communicating whatever message you want to communicate.
Exactly.
Now, one more example. You've got this guy, François Baron.
Yeah.
He said, if he didn't want a certain message to be picked up by the media, he would just refuse to speak in a soundbiteable way. So he'd speak in these long, convoluted sentences where he'd go up at the end of the sentence and make it impossible to cut a soundbite.
Oh, he just continued to talk until the
cows come home.
Until the programme was over.
Right, and you couldn't find a moment.
Oh, I know a couple of correspondents to do that. All right, let's go to Hungary, shall we? Because a far-right EP, member of the European Parliament, has some surprising news about his origins.
That's right. Just very quickly to explain this guy, he is a far-right MEP, and everyone's laughing at him today because he had quite a lot of anti-Semitic rhetoric over the years, and he discovered that he's Jewish on both sides of his family.
He's discovered that.
He's discovered that.
Oh, good. I think they call that Schadenfreude.
Right. So there you go. I suppose it had, what would you say, left-leaning Hungarians and centrist Hungarians, and actually anyone who's not far-right in Hungary laughing at
Okay, good
him.
stuff. All right, James Creedon, good to have you
Thanks,
back.
Laura.
Thank you very much indeed. That's it for Media Watch. All right, now it's time for web news. We're going to Sudan tonight, where there's some startling images of a protester being whipped, apparently, by police as unrest continues over soaring food and fuel costs. Take a look.